Alright everyone, how's it going? Got my SuperStation 1 here. I just got it today. Messing around with some of the inputs on it. I really like it. I just had to open it up with the real-time clock battery in it because that wasn't in there. But it doesn't really matter. Most of my time just got spent uploading all the dang games that I had to put on there. I'm going to test it out on my Apex 20-inch. I really like this TV. This is great for Dreamcast. I got a couple other CRTs over there. A Dynasound and a JVC 27-inch. And then I got this RCA Dynaflat that I'm going to use as a Tate machine for arcade games. And on this, I got S-Video going to this TV. And then component going to this one here. But upstairs, I'm going to hook it up to a 27-inch RCA and to an OLED. Two 27-inch CRTs so that people can play two-player fighting games on separate, use their own screen, and then the OLED. But this looks really good through SVO. I'm just using I use a Hori Octo Fighter Pad. It works really good, especially for Saturn and N64 if I don't want to pull out my N64 controllers. Gotta take care of the rolling. But everything seems to fire up. I had read that some people were having issues with certain cores. I am not having that issue. It's like even on Saturn, I'm not having any problem loading this up. Everything's loading up just fine. Even multi-discs. They seem to have ironed out the issues with saves as well. On Saturn, it was like not necessarily loading your saves properly per game. But now, it loads up just fine. Got my saves. Should have my saves in there. Yep. Oh, they're all in there. Even the PlayStation 1, it came with an odd core. I'm not sure which BIOS that was using. But I just dragged all the files short of like the system files to this new memory card. Just so I wouldn't mess with any of the INI that's on the SuperStation 1, because obviously that INI is a lot different than the stock Mister because of all the ports. My dual RAM analog one, it uses an IO direct board. That's a dual RAM. That took a lot of fudging with the INI to get that working properly on a CRT through the outputs I was using for that. This will basically be my replacement for that. But I really like that board. I have two other Misters. I have a dual RAM HDMI one for the big screen and a dual core analog because I'm a big fan and collector of Saturn. So I really want those fighting games running smoothly, so I want a dual RAM on an analog. Took some fudging around to do, but it was worth the hassle. Like, I'm happy with it. I'm really happy with the build quality. It's a nice board underneath that shell. It didn't come with the fan that I ordered with it. That's still, I guess, held up. It looks like it would just snap onto place though when I lifted up the board. I put a picture of the board on my updates just on my page. But this all works. I mean, I can't complain. I'm going to add on to this video and kind of show it hooked up to my other screen. I am not an Eddie main. He's cheap. But, you know, when I was 10, I used to cheese the hell out of him. So it's fine. Final round. Fight. So everything works. Yep. Alright. Alright. Here's my bedroom setup. That's my 27-inch Sharp. Got my SuperStation 1 down there. My two other Mr. Pies are under there. The one on the right is a dual RAM HDMI setup, and the one on the left there is a dual RAM analog for the CRT. I'm going to show you something here in a second of why I'm going to keep that in this spot, because I did see an issue. I mean, this is a new system, so it doesn't really matter at this point. But say if you were to go into let's say X-Men vs. Street Fighter. Now, I know others have had this issue, but people specifically looking for this system, this is a good thing to know ahead of time, because I'm sure this will get worked out with the inputs with an update. I just can't figure it out, even with my knowledge about the analog direct board. But as you'll see here, yeah, both systems in color, right? So what I'm going to show you here is, if I can exit out here, this one does not have that option. One moment, un momento. Okay. Is the fact that certain cores do not show in color. And this is common on the Mr. Let's say take your, one of my favorite games, R-Type Leo. You'll see what I'm talking about. Now, a good chunk of the Japanese games, doesn't matter the input. It's going to be black and white. Just so that you're aware. On the analog direct that I have down there, it does come in color on my CRTs. So for some reason I can't figure it out, comparing INIs and stuff, so we'll probably just have to wait till there's an update. Because other than that, this is really the only issue that I could find, is that it has that common issue where you try to run some of these Japanese arcade games through anything but RGB. You gotta run through RGB. If you run through S-Video composite, those arcade machines are going to show up as black and white. And even if I'm using RGB on this, it still comes out as black and white. So I'm not sure why, but it's not something I'm worried about at the moment. Because if you run it on S-Video, it's perfectly fine. For all the other systems, it's just the arcade, certain arcade cores. Not all of them. I'd say probably like maybe less than 10%. But there are those out there that do not show up in color. Other than that, I love the system. I just hooked up my 8BitDo Pro 2 to use on that one, just because I have plenty of extra controllers. Yeah, I got way too much crap, but I'm going to have some fun with this. That's a 27-inch. That's the 50-inch Hisense U8H. I got this a couple years ago. It's a really good TV. But that's about it. So, all right.